Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as you can see on your screen, today we are going to start a very new book that's Master Your Emotion by Thibaut Meurisse, and he's a French author, and his name is, if I'm pronouncing it correct, it is Thibaut Meurisse. In French, it is pronounced a little bit more differently, but you got the gist, right? So now, so far we have already covered two books written by Sir Mark Douglas, and it was The Disciplined Trader and Trading in the Zone, which was completely based on trading psychology. So there are some technical trading terms as well, and there are other terms which help us to understand how our psychology is getting affected by the emotions, you know, and how it is helping us or resisting us to take the right decision in the market during our trading hours. So in the same series, since we understood in the trading environment, it is never you against the market, it is always you against you. And to understand it more, today, from today onwards, we are starting this new book, which is Master Your Emotions. Because by now you are very well aware of the fact that if we can master our emotions, we will do, you know, the consistent profitability from the trading environment. Right. So that's the aim. So yes, let's begin. Generally, I skip the introduction part of the book, but for this one, I'll go with the introduction part as well. Okay, so this is the content that we are going to cover, and if I'll tell you why this book, so let's go through it. And as you know, in case if you missed like the discipline trader and trading in the zone book, so you can check out it in the playlist itself. You just have to go to my channel and you can see there are two separate playlists. One is named as trading in the zone and the other one is known as trading psychology. So in trading psychology you'll get this book, which is discipline trader, and trading in the zone is complete playlist based on the book trading in the zone, obviously. Right. So from today onwards, let's start this book. So why this book? Why have I have chosen this book, and what is the benefit of having this book and reading this book? Let's understand about it, okay? And like the way we always do, we'll go through the whole book and we'll get the best out of it. And I'm just reading it, and in between, I'll give my inputs also, and I'm leaving up to you guys how you perceive it. Like what are the things that you're getting out of it? Okay. Now, many books discuss emotions and how they affect your life, but they rarely provide a comprehensive view of what emotions are, where they come from, what is their role on or how they affect your life. Emotions are among the trickiest things to deal with, and unfortunately, too often you and I will fall prey to this mystical power, right? So many times you must have encountered with this. In case if you're wondering what is written in my background, it is written as master your emotion and be the best version of yourself. Be your best self, right? So that is what written in my background. Okay, coming back to the content itself. Yes, so I was talking about most of the time or some of the time you have come across this situation where you were like, oh, I was like logically after a certain thing is already done, you're like, oh, I was not supposed to do it, but because of the emotion I did it, right? So because of the moment, because of the emotions, I did it unintentionally or intentionally, whatever it is. Right. So that's what we are trying to understand. Emotions are among the trickiest things to deal with, and unfortunately, too often you and I will fall prey to their mystical power. Now, rather than emotions falling against us, we are going to understand how can we use it as a lethal weapon in our benefit. Okay, we find ourselves unable to break their spell because they affect every aspect of your lives and determine the quality of it. Our inability to understand how emotions work can prevent us from designing our ideal life and from fulfilling our potential. By the end of the book, you'll know how emotions work, and more importantly, you'll be better equipped to deal with them. If you struggle to deal with negative emotions or want to learn how emotions work and how you can use them as a tool for your personal growth, this book is for you, right? So during trading, it is very, very, very important to have a good grasp over your emotions, especially if you're an intraday trader. Generally, in other scenarios as well, you need to have a good hold over your emotions so that you can get the best out of the market, or like you will get the desired results and also you'll get the desired profit, whatever the situation is. Okay. Now, introduction. The mind in its own place and in itself can make a heaven of or heaven of hell a hell of heaven. Okay, John Milton. It is written by John Milton, the poet itself, right? The mind can make a heaven a hell also, and a hell as heaven too, right? So that's the gist of it. We all experience a wide range of emotions throughout our lives. I had to admit while writing this book, I experienced this is the thoughts of the author. Okay, we are just reading the introduction part so that we can understand why he wrote what he wrote and why it is the best available choice for us to understand our emotions. We all experience a wide range of emotions throughout our lives. I had to admit, while writing this book, I experienced highs and lows myself. At first, I was filled with excitement and thrilled at the idea of providing people with a guide to help them understand their emotions. I imagined how lives would improve as they learned to control their emotions. My motivation was high, and I couldn't help but imagine how great the book should be. So I thought. After the initial excitement, the time came to sit down to write the actual book, and that's when the excitement wore off pretty quickly. Ideas that looked great in my mind suddenly felt dull. My writing seemed boring, and I felt as though I had nothing substantive or valuable to contribute. Sitting at my desk and writing become more challenging each day. I started losing confidence. Was I to write a book about emotions if I couldn't master my own emotion? How ironic it is. I considered giving up. There are already plenty books on the topic, so why add one more? At the same time, I realized this book was a perfect opportunity to work on. I hope I am clearly audible, right? In between, I have to check. Okay, I am. I am. All right. Okay, great. Do I have to share my screen again? Just give me 1 second. I'll share it again. Okay. All right. At the same time, I realized the book was a perfect opportunity to work on my own emotional issues. And who doesn't suffer from negative emotion from time to time? We all have highs and lows, don't we? The key is what we do with our lows. Are we using our emotions to grow? Are we learning something from them? Or are we beating ourselves up over them? So let's talk about your emotions now. Let me start by asking you this. How do you feel right now? Okay, just pause the video for a few seconds and give it a thought. How exactly I am feeling right now. Okay, for me it is like a neutral emotion, right? So similarly, you can have different emotions, whatever is going through your life at current scenario. Okay, knowing how you feel is the first step toward taking control of your emotions. You may have spent so much time internalizing, you have lost touch with your emotions. Perhaps you answered as follows: I feel this book could be useful, or I really feel I could learn something from this book. However, none of these answers reflect how you feel. You don't feel like this or feel like that. You simply feel. You don't feel like this book could be useful. You think this book could be useful. And that generates an emotion which makes you feel excited about reading it. Feelings manifest as physical sensation in your body, not as an idea in your mind. Perhaps the reason the word feel is so often overused or misused is because we don't want to talk about our emotions. So how do you feel now? Give it a thought again. Okay. Now, why is it important to talk about emotions? How you feel determines the quality of your life. Your emotions can make your life miserable or truly magical. That's why they are among the most important things to focus on. Your emotions color all your experiences. When you feel good, everything feels or tastes better. You also think better thoughts. Your energy levels are higher and possibilities seem limitless. Conversely, when you feel depressed, everything seems dull. You have little energy and you become unmotivated. You feel stuck in a place mentally and physically you don't want to be, and the future looks gloomy. Emotions can also act as a powerful guide. They can tell you something is wrong and allow you to make changes in your life. As such, they may be among the most powerful personal growth tools you have. Sadly, neither your teachers nor your parents taught you how emotions work or how to control them. I find it ironic that just about anything comes with a how-to manual, while your mind doesn't. You you have never received an instruction manual to teach you how your mind works and how to use it to better manage your emotions. Have you? I haven't. In fact, until now, I doubt one even existed. What you'll learn in this book. Now, this is the most important part. This book is the how to manual your parents should have given you at the birth. It's the instruction manual you should have received at school. In it, I'll share everything you need to know about emotions so you can overcome your fears and limitation and become the type of person you really want to be. You'll learn what emotions are, how they are formed, and how you can use them for your personal growth. You'll also learn how to deal with negative emotions and condition your mind to create more positive emotions. It is my sincere hope and expectation that by the end of this book, you'll have a clear understanding of what emotions are and will have all the tools you need to start taking control of them. More specifically, this book will help you understand what emotions are and how they impact your life, identify negative emotions that control your life, and learn to overcome them. Change your story to take better control over your life and create a more compelling future, and reprogram your mind to experience more positive emotions. Right. Here is a more detailed summary of what you'll learn in this book. In part one, we'll discuss what emotions are. You'll learn why you're wired to focus on negativity and what you can do to counter this effect. So, in your life, maybe hundreds of things are going in the right direction, but there is one thing that is not going according to your plan. Okay. So that consists little bit of negative energy is what I'm trying to say over here. So your all attention will go to that negative energy, emotion, or negative energy, feeling, or negative energy, think first. All right. So why our focus always go on the negative thing first? It should be on the positive thing, right? Even if it is going on a negative thing, it should be solution oriented rather than just cribbing about it, is what my basic idea of telling you this. Okay, you'll also discover how your beliefs, imagine, uh, impinge upon your emotions. Finally, you'll learn how negative emotions work and why they are so tricky. In part two, we'll go over the things that directly impact your emotions. You'll understand the roles your body, your thoughts, your words, or your sleep play in your life and how you can use them to change your emotions. In part three, you'll learn how emotions are formed. You'll also learn how to condition your mind to experience more positive emotions. And finally, in part four, we'll discuss how to use your emotion as a tool for personal growth. You'll learn why your experience emotions such as fear or depression and how they work. You'll then discover how to use them to grow. Let's get started. Okay, how to use this book. I encourage you to read all the way through this book at least once. After that, I invite you to revisit the book and focus on the sections you want to explore in more depth. Okay, in this book, I include a number of different exercises. Though I don't expect you to go through them all, my hope is you'll pick some and apply them in your life. Remember, the result you'll get out of this book depend on how much time and effort you are willing to put in. If you feel this book could be of any use to your family members or friend, make sure to share it with them. Emotions are complex, and I believe it would benefit us all to deepen our understanding of the topic. Okay, now this is your free step-by-step workbook to help you master your emotion. I've created a workbook as a companion guide to this book. Make sure you download it. Okay, I'll send you. Okay, okay. In case if you want this link, let me know. I'll share it. Okay, part one. Now from here, we are starting with the main content. Okay, first thing first, what exactly emotions are? Have you ever wondered what emotions are and what purpose they serve? In this section, we'll discuss how your survival mechanism affects your emotions. Then we'll explain what the ego is and how it impacts your emotions. Finally, we'll discover the mechanism behind emotions and learn why negative emotions can be so hard to deal with. Okay, so the first chapter is here, how your survival mechanism affects your emotions. Why people have a bias towards negativity. Your brain is designed for survival, which explains why you're able to read this book at this very moment. When you think about it, the probability of you being born was extremely low. For this miracle to happen, all the generation before you had to survive long enough to procreate. In their quest for survival and procreation, they must have faced death hundreds or perhaps thousands of times. Okay, so now we are going to the very root of this. Okay, now let me just take a note of the important stuff. All right. Now moving ahead. Great. All right. Fortunately, unlike your ancestors, you are probably not facing death every day. In fact, in many parts of the world, life has never been safer. Yet your survival mechanism hasn't changed much. Your brain still scans your environment looking for potential threats. In many ways, some parts of okay, let me just take a note of it. We are understanding the very logic why we act the way we act. Okay, why we got attracted to the negative things and stuff. In many ways, some parts of your brain have become obsolete. While you may not be seconds away from being eaten by a predator, your brain still gives significantly more weight to negative events than to positive ones. All right. So here it is. Okay. Now, moving ahead, in many ways, some parts of your brain have become obsolete. While you may not be seconds away from being eaten by predator, but your brain still gives significantly more weight to negative events, right? Okay. I hope you are able to hear me. All right. Just give me 1 second. Am I okay? Okay. All right. Sometimes my mic, it makes me feel if I'm audible or not. I hope I'm clearly audible. Right. Okay. Am I audible? Okay. I think I am audible. Right. In many ways, some part of your brain have become obsolete while you may not be seconds away from being eaten by third time I'm reading it. Okay, let's move ahead. Fear of rejection is one example of a bias towards negativity. In the past, being rejected from your tribe would reduce your chances of survival significantly. Therefore, you learn to look for any signs of rejection, and this became hardwired in your brain. Nowadays, being rejected often carries little or no consequence to your long-term survival, right? So even if you're getting rejected in, let's say, in your life, in your job, or let's say in one of your interview or in your love life, or whatever, right? It's not comes to your survival. It's not like if you're getting rejected, then it'll come to your survival and you'll not survive it after that, right? It just not happens anymore, correct? So that's something we have to understand. But still, our brain is hardwired in a way that we seek rejection as a sign of survival. Like it will reduce our chances of survival, but that's not the truth. Hmm. You could be hated by the entire world and still have a job, a roof, and a plenty of food on the table, yet your brain is still programmed to perceive rejection as a threat to your survival. This is why rejection can be so painful. While you know most rejections are no big deal, you nevertheless feel the emotional pain. If you listen to your mind, you may even create a whole drama around it. Most of the time, that's what happens, right? In actual reality, the things are not as threatening the way we created it in our mind, right? You may believe you aren't worthy of love and dwell on a rejection for days or weeks. Worse still, you may become depressed as a result of this rejection. In fact, one single criticism can often outweigh hundreds of positive ones. That's why an author with 55-star reviews is likely to feel terrible when they receive a single one-star review. While the author understands the one-star review isn't a threat to her survival, her authorial brain doesn't. It likely interprets the negative review as a threat to her ego, which triggers an emotional reaction. Okay. Now, the fear of rejection can also lead you to over dramatize events. If your boss criticized you at work, your brain may see the event as threat, and you now think, what if I am fired? What if I can't find a job quickly? What if, right? So there are a lot of what ifs in our lives. Hmm. What if I can't find a job quickly enough with my and my wife leaves me? What about my kids? What if I can't see them again? While you are fortunate to have such an effective survival mechanism, it is also your responsibility to separate real threats from imaginary ones. If you don't, you'll experience unnecessary pain and worry that will negatively impact the quality of your life. To overcome this bias towards negativity, you must reprogram your mind. One of human beings' greatest power in your ability to use your thoughts to shape our reality and interprets event in a more empowering way. This book will teach you how can you do that. Okay, now that's what we are going to do next. Action step: complete the corresponding exercise in the workbook section 1. What emotions are biased towards negativity? Okay, basically in the starting there was this link, right? I said if you require that, then I'll post it to that in the comment section, right? If you need it, let me know. I'll do it. Okay, otherwise we'll just go ahead, we'll just skip it. Why your brain's job isn't to make you happy. Your brain's primary job is not to make you happy but to ensure your survival. Very important. Okay, let me take a note of it. All right, now the next thing. Hmm. In between, I'll take few seconds pause also because I'm taking a note of it. Meanwhile, you can go through the content and you can or you can skip video 5 to 10 seconds further. Thus, if you want to be happy, you must take control of your emotions rather than hoping you'll be happy because it's your natural state. In the following section, we'll discuss what happiness is and how it works, how dopamine can mess with your happiness. Dopamine is neurotransmitter which, among other functions, plays a major role in rewarding certain behavior. When dopamine is released into specific areas of your brain, the pleasure centers, you get a high. This is what happens during exercise, when you gamble, have sex, or eat great food. Okay, so that's how the dopamine works. All right, you're getting what I can say temporary high basically. All right, and it will make you feel good for a little while. One of the roles of dopamine is to ensure you look for food so you don't die of starvation, and you search for a mate so you can reproduce. Without dopamine, our species would likely to be extinct by now. It's a pretty good thing, right? Well, yes and no. In today's world, this reward system is in many cases obsolete. While in the past, dopamine was linked to our survival instinct, the release of dopamine can now be generated artificially. A great example of this effect is social media, which uses psychology to suck as much time as possible out of your life. Have you noticed all these notifications that are app, that pop up constantly? They're just they are used to trigger a release of dopamine so you can stay connected. And the longer you are stay connected, the more money the services make. Watching pornography or gambling also leads to a release of dopamine, which can make these activities highly addictive. Fortunately, we don't need to act each time your brain releases dopamine. For instance, we don't need to constantly check our Facebook news feeds just because it gives us a pleasurable sort of dopamine. Today's society is selling a version of happiness that can make us unhappy, very deep, right? Because we are getting the instantaneous pleasure, but in a longer run, it is not worth it at all because of its adverse effect on our psychology and physically also. We have become addicted to dopamine largely because of marketers who have found effective ways to exploit our brains. We receive multiple sorts of dopamine throughout the day and we love it. But is that the same thing as happiness? Worse than that, dopamine can create real addictions with severe consequences on your health. Research conducted at Tulane University showed that when given permission to self stimulate their pleasure center, participants did it an average of 40 times per minute. They chose the stimulation of their pleasure center over food, even refusing to eat when hungry. Korean Lee Seung Soo is an extreme case of this syndrome. In 2005, Mr. Soo died after playing a video game for 58 hours straight with very little food or water and no sleep at all. The subsequent investigation concluded the cause of death was heart failure induced by exhaustion and dehydration. He was only 38 years old. Today, control of your emotion, it is essential you understand the role of dopamine plays and how it affects your happiness. Are you addicted to your phone? Are you glued to your TV? Or maybe you spend too much time playing video games? Most of us are addicted to something. For some people, it's obvious, but for others, it's more subtle. For instance, you could be addicted to thinking. To better control your emotions, it is important to shed the light on your addictions as they can rob you of your happiness. The one day I will myth. Do you believe that one day you'll achieve your dream and finally be happy? This is unlikely to happen. You may, and I hope you will, achieve your dreams, but you won't live happily ever after. This is just another trick your mind plays on you. Your mind quickly acclimates to new situations, which is probably the result of evolution and our need to adapt continually in order to survive and reproduce. This is also probable why the new car or house you want will only make you happy for a while. Once the initial excitement wears off, you'll move on to crave the next exciting thing. This phenomenon is known as hedonic adaptation. Right, this is very important. So for example, you're very crazy about, let's say there is this car, or let's say for like in general manner, let's say you're crazy about PS5, right? And let's say you just bought it. You'll feel excited first day, you'll play. In the second day also you'll feel excited, but after a few days, when you get accustomed to having PS5 and playing around and using it to as much as you want and at your will or whatever the situation is, then you'll start feeling the hedonic adaptation. You'll not get the same excitation the way you used to get when you didn't have that PS5 in the first place. Right, that's what I'm trying to say. So once you get used to of certain things, you'll get hedonic adaptation. You'll not feel excited anymore. Right, no matter how great a particular thing looks to you, after a certain point it will look normal. You'll just get used to it, and and it will not give you any excitation or any kind of fun, any kind of things, anything anymore. Now, how hedonic adaptation works. Now, what is the psychology behind it? Let's understand about it. Okay, let me share an interesting study that will likely change the way you see happiness. This study, which was conducted on lottery winners and paraplegics, was extremely eye-opening for me. Conducted in 1978, the investigation evaluated how winning the lottery or becoming a paraplegic influence happiness. This study found that 1 year after the event, both groups were just as happy as they were beforehand. Yes, just as happy or unhappy. You can find more about it by watching Dan Gilbert's TED Talk, The Surprising Science of Happiness. Okay, there is this link also, or you can just simply search it on YouTube. Perhaps you believe that you'll be happy once you have made it. But as the above study on happiness shows, this is simply not true. No matter what happens to you, you'll revert back to your predetermined level of happiness once you have adapted to the new event. This is how your mind works. Does that mean you can't be happier than you are right now? No. What it means is that in the long run, external events have very little impact upon your level of happiness. Very, very, very important. Okay. So the materialistic things that you're seeking, you feel like, okay, once I'll get this, once I'll get this amount, once I'll acquire this particular car, I'll feel like it's just worth it. No, that's not the truth. After a while, it'll stop giving you the kind of happiness you thought it will give you for the rest of your life. It'll not happen. Okay. In fact, according to Sonja Lyubomirsky, author of The How of Happiness, 50% of our happiness is determined by genetics, 40% by internal factors, and only 10% by external factors. I'll read it again. This is very important. So there's this book known as How of Happiness, 50%, the How of Happiness. Okay. So which tells us the 50% of our happiness is determined by genetics. 50%. Almost half of your happiness is determined by your genetics. Then the rest, major part, 40% by internal factors. Again, 50 from the genetics, 40 from the internal factors, and only 10% by the external factors. But in reality, we think the other way around. We think the 10% holds the major, what I can say, power or major percentage. But that's not the truth. These external factors include such things as whether we are single or married, rich or poor, and similar social influences. This suggests only 10% of your happiness is linked to external factors, which is probably way less than you thought. The bottom line is this: your attitude towards life influences your happiness, not what happens to you. Okay, this is very important. All right, this is like basically the crux of what we are trying to convey over here. Okay, now by now you understand how your survival mechanism impacts negatively your emotions and prevent you from experiencing more joy and happiness in your life. In the next section, we'll learn about the ego, much needed thing. Okay, so the next chapter is the ego. All right, second chapter is what, as you can see, what is the ego. We'll cover it in the next video. Now there is this action step again based on the workbook. So if you need workbook, let me know. Okay, I'll post you the link, like I'll give you the link in the comment section itself or in the description, whatever way you'll suggest it. All right. So today we learned about a little bit things related to how we are getting, you know, attracted to the negative things and why it is the way it is. And also in the next section, we are going to understand about the ego. Okay. So if you have come so far and it helped you in one way or another, so leave a like and comment. And if there is any piece of advice that you want to give, if there is any suggestions, anything that you want to say, again, the box is open for all of you. We'll meet next time. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe. Please take care of yourself. Thank you so much, universe. Thank you so much, Radharanji. Have fun. Peace out.